Honestly, I'm pretty good at masking things. I don't think anyone really noticed. Maybe my friends thought, she hasn't gone to class today, but they didn't I don't think they really realized how bad it was, how depressed I was.
Hey there, my name is Sean, and this is Suicide Noted. On this podcast, I talk with suicide attempt survivors and ideators so that we can hear their stories. Every year around the world, millions of people try to take their own lives, and we almost never talk about it. We certainly don't talk about it enough. And when we do talk about it, when we engage, most of us are not very good at it. Why would we be? We don't learn this stuff. So one of my goals with this podcast is to have more conversations and hopefully better conversations with survivors, in large part to help more people in more places hopefully feel a little less shitty and a little less alone. Now, if you are a suicide attempt survivor and you'd like to talk, please reach out. I'd love to talk with you. Our email is hello@suicidenoted.com. You can check the show notes, the podcast description, the website suicidenoted.com to learn more about this podcast, including our upcoming tour. More on that very, very soon. We're getting real close. And I would love your involvement or support or whatever that may look like. Only, of course, if that's something that you want to do. You may have noticed that we are more active on social media, including Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. And it would help a whole lot if you checked us out there in one or more of those places and do the things we do on social media, like liking or subscribing or sharing or commenting. Please know TikTok is a little different and a little weird, especially with the word suicide. So you may have to search for my name, Sean Wellington, that's SEAN, to find the Suicide Noted podcast on that platform. Finally, we are talking about suicide on this podcast, so please take that into account before you listen or as you listen. But I do hope you listen because there is so much to learn. Today I am talking with Haley. Haley lives in Iowa, and she is a suicide attempt survivor. Haley, glad to connect with you.
Not gonna lie, it's a little weird.
Why is it weird?
I don't know. I'm just not used to talking about this much, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I get that. Yeah. Well, I appreciate it. I really do. So how old are you?
I'm 23.
23 in Iowa.
Yes.
It's a weird state in that there's 3 vowels and only 4 letters.
It's a little strange.
And now here's the big question. You've heard the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
All right. It's typically how people know about the know about me, even to reach out, have the email. How is it that you found a podcast with the word suicide in it? How and when?
I think I found it, I want to say a year ago. And I was just in a really bad depression for about 8 months. I was I'm just curious. I'm a very I like to research things when I get interested in them or when something's happening. So I'll just kind of dig in and find out as much as I can. And so I was like, well, I want to maybe find other people's stories and just kind of see what happened with them. I guess the best way, just say suicide in there, and I put it in Spotify and then it came up.
Easy, right. And did you find what you were looking for?
Funny enough, I wasn't sure if I liked it at first, if I'm being honest.
Tell me more, because people are usually so nice, and I like that. But it really, actually, I'm really curious, and it actually kind of helps me to know, okay, tell me what was going on. What was weird about it, or what didn't resonate?
Maybe it was just the candidness, which I appreciate, but also was weird for me because people normally aren't that. Sorry, my bunny is playing with the blinds.
This is worth a quick digression. You have a bunny rabbit?
I do. He's 12 weeks old, and I named him Melvin.
Melvin is there to support you in this, you're having a tough talk here, and Melvin's there for you.
Yeah.
So tell me, so the fact that these conversations were, I guess, in some ways not typical, the kinds of conversations or the way they were being had, where it was weird.
Yeah, it was just kind of off-putting, I think. And I wasn't super sure, I guess, what I was looking for at the time. I was more just trying to get as much information as I could. So eventually I was like, okay, let me listen to another episode, because I maybe it's the guest too.
Yeah, could have been a one-off, sure.
Yeah. And then I ended up just kept listening and I was like, okay, I think I like this actually.
Okay, good. Well, that's cool. I mean, I have no doubt that people who I probably never hear from hear it and are like, nah. And
Yeah.
that's okay. I rarely get to hear that. So it is actually really helpful to hear that. So I appreciate you sharing that. What tempted you to reach out to me, though, and actually connect and talk about it with me, and then others will hear it too?
So I wasn't sure if I was gonna reach out. I kind of wanted to, just that like I don't want to say egotistical part, but where you want to talk, you just want to get it out, talk about yourself. But I was like, I don't know if it really counts. And then I heard some other stories, and I was like, okay, well, this is kind of similar to mine, so I guess I may as well go for it. I don't like being a burden, so to speak, on other people, and so I don't really talk about it.
What do you mean you weren't sure if it counts? What does that mean?
I guess for me, there's just always been such a specific definition of what people think of when they think of try to kill themselves. And, like some other people on the show said like half attempts. I don't know. Like now thinking about it, I'm like, it might have been not a half attempt,
Yeah,
but
I don't have a definition. I mean, near attempt, half attempt, almost attempt, passive attempt, kind of attempt.
yeah, it's just
It's not the same if you actually pull the trigger or jump off a bridge, but
exactly.
we'll get to it. We'll get to it. What are we going to call it? You get to call it whatever you want. Is it we don't have to label it, but I'm curious what you might call it.
I guess we could say it was an attempt. It's just hard for me to like really categorize because I'm so desensitized to the idea of dying. Like it doesn't scare me anymore. Like it used to when I was little. Because I've been
Really?
living with this for so long, it just
Living with what?
suicidal ideation and depression, whatever. Like it's been over a year at this point, and it doesn't phase me anymore.
Doesn't scare you. Death doesn't scare you.
No.
Wow. Scares the shit out of me, man.
My family is more the thing that scares me, or what they're gonna have to deal with scares me, but like the actual death part doesn't.
When you say what they're going to have to deal with, are you planning?
No, not right now. I'm fairly good right now. Like I said, just because I'm so desensitized, like I really don't know if I would ever do it in the future.
I assume all these things are connected. They may not be. Sometimes people live a certain life, things are mostly good, and something happens and then boom. So for you, was it more like this building from childhood and difficult life, or was it just something happened last year? Boom.
It was definitely like a buildup, I think. So I'll just say like I was always a very quiet kid. I didn't have like any friends. I almost didn't want to because I never quite felt connected to everybody. And I think that was probably because of the ADHD, honestly. Because, I just like I didn't understand things the same way. But yeah, so I just never really talked to anybody. I never really it was just kind of lonely, I guess.
Yeah, are you during that time at any point ever thinking beyond the philosophical of suicide?
I don't think it ever crossed my mind up until, like, a year ago, at
Okay.
least not as, like, a thing I would actually do. Maybe I had thought, "Oh, this is so annoying, I could just wish I wasn't here," but not, like, in a I don't know, like,
Mhm,
everybody, in my opinion, at some point kinda thinks those random thoughts,
mhm.
so it wasn't, like, an intrusive thought.
If you had shared what you just shared with me to someone, and they said, "Well, Haley, do we really have to be worried here?" You'd say probably no. Back then, when a fleeting thought that you're right. Probably most, if not everyone, thinks of from time to time.
Yeah.
Some very few friends
Mhm.
living with your family,
Yes.
mom, dad.
Mom, dad, and then younger sister and older sister, but, younger wasn't born quite yet, so
Okay, okay. You finish high school,
yes, I did.
which is COVID, by the way. If I'm my math,
Yeah.
that gets weird, right?
Yeah, so, my senior year of high school, I graduated in 2020. We didn't get, like, prom or graduation or I was supposed to go on, like, a choir trip to LA. I was so excited. I kinda just slowly because the end of that year, we had moved online, I kinda just, like, slowly went into a depression, like, deeper, deeper. But at the time, I didn't really notice, like, because I didn't know really what it was. Like, my family believes in mental health, but just they're not very informed. So no one ever said anything to me. I never
Mhm.
like I didn't know what it was. And then I was really excited to go to college. I went that next semester, right after I graduated, because I was like, I need to get out of this house. I hadn't left in like 6 months because my
Uh-huh.
parents were like, y'all aren't going anywhere. Yeah, I was really excited to go to college. I did really good my first semester, my first year. Still lonely because, now I'm an hour and a half away and I still don't have any friends. Can be a little bit intimidating.
Let me ask you a question.
Hmm.
You say that kind of like, and you kind of smile. And I'm not trying to pour fuel on fire here, but that's got to be really hard. Not having people for a social group is fucking hard.
I'm very cope with humor.
Are you in school? Is it a college in Iowa?
Hmm.
Okay.
It's in Decorah. It's Luther College, which
Okay.
was really pretty. Really, I liked the people there. I eventually did make some friends
Oh, cool.
sophomore, junior year, but so it kind of helped with the loneliness. But I was so overwhelmed, and I was overwhelmed, and I was burnt out from doing so well in school past, elementary, because I
You're
didn't
saying,
want
you're
people to think
saying you were burnt out because it was a lot of work.
yeah, I didn't want people to think I was, like, stupid because I didn't get things right away. Like, I would go home from I took an advanced math class in high school. If I didn't understand something, I'd ask, like, maybe 3 questions, and if I didn't get it, I went home that night and I would spend, like, 3 hours teaching myself how to do it because the teacher just could not explain it to me in a way that
Right.
made sense.
What did you study at this college?
I started with music ed, and then I started the program too late. It's a really intense program, and it's like 5 years pushed into four. Like it's really like they just now have started redoing it because it has the highest dropout rate.
That's a sign that maybe things. Do you have an instrument or something that you play?
Vocal. I'd still want to do it at some point, but
So you do you finish that school?
close. I got really close. So basically, I just kind of did worse and worse as I got through. And it wasn't necessarily because it was harder. It was just because I kept having less and less energy and kept getting more depressed. It was just like, it was a mess, honestly.
You have people. I was gonna say, did you have people in your life who recognized? Oh shit, Helly's something's up.
Honestly, I'm pretty good at masking things. I don't think anyone really noticed. Maybe my friends thought, she hasn't gone to class today, but they didn't, I don't think they really realized how bad it was, how depressed I was.
Did you try to speak to a counselor? When I ask that question, that's not me suggesting what you should have done. I'm just truly curious.
Oh,
I,
yeah,
you
no,
know,
don't worry. I got you.
did you? So yeah, like because you recognize that you were struggling.
I think at first I was a little bit like I didn't really notice just because I would go up and down so much. Like I would be really stressed for like a couple weeks and then the next week it would be fine. But I also wasn't getting a lot of sleep. Yeah. And then I think as it got worse, I definitely noticed. Well, I think my coping was probably we would go out drinking usually at least once a weekend, or we would stay in and it was fine. And I got to the point where I would start really looking forward to it. I was like, "Damn, I really could use a I could use a twisted tea right now." Yeah, so I think that was my main coping thing at that time. And also my friends would kind of drag me out to like dinner or whatever.
Was this a religious school?
Technically, it's kind of, but they're like very vague. You have to take religion courses, but they're not all like one of them is talks about like Islam and a bunch of different stuff. It's very inclusive, I guess.
A lot of people, when they want to drink, they drink. You're saying you wanted to drink, but you sort of were like, I'm going to wait until that weekly thing where we go out and get a drink or two. So what stopped you from just drinking? Because it sounds like it made you feel a little better when you drank.
I guess I didn't want people to like notice because my friends like I lived with one of them, so they would have noticed if I was drinking on a Tuesday.
Mhm,
Been
mhm.
like, "What are you doing?" Again, I've masked it mostly, so I
Yeah.
didn't wanna worry them, I guess.
Is that tiring?
Yeah.
Masking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically my whole life.
Right now?
Not as much. College did bring me out of my shell a little bit. Like, I don't care as much about what people think. I'm very much at my core, I don't like to worry people. My older sister made it so I never really had space to worry my parents. So I just kind of always kept it in, I guess.
How does college end for you?
So yeah, gets worse and worse. My grades get worse. So my senior year, and it would have been February, so right before spring semester started, I just kind of snapped and I was like, man, I those pills that I have are looking pretty good right now. I had gotten diagnosed officially with like depression, anxiety, ADHD. And so I had like some different prescriptions. I've had so many over the years, I don't even know.
So throughout this time, you have been going to therapists.
Not a therapist, but I went to a psychiatrist.
Oh, I see. I see. And he or she gave you the pills, diagnosed you with depression. You said you have ADHD
Yes. And then anxiety.
and things. That's enough for anyone to have to deal with, right? And this is February of 2024.
2024 sounds right because I would have graduated. It was 2024.
A little over a year ago. You got all these pills. You're still in school.
Yes, this was actually where I kind of snapped one day. I was like, wow, I could just take these pills and just be really done with all of this. And then I also that same day ended up cutting for the first time. That night, I finally told one of my friends because she had dealt with a lot of similar things. And I was like, is this normal? Basically, she put in a care report, which is you file it with one of the student offices. They will like email you, check up on you. They told my parents for me because they had to, obviously. And that weekend, I actually ended up going home. Like they were like, we're coming to get you. Yeah. And then I just took a incomplete for that semester.
So you were at home.
Mm-hmm.
What was that like?
It wasn't great. My family triggers me a lot. They don't necessarily mean to, but the house was built the year the Titanic sank, and you can hear everything in every part of the house. So like there was never a moment of quiet. I just always, unless no one else was home, you always hear something.
Last year, it's spring. It's about a year ago, more or less. Came back, and so how do you get through your days? And the reason I asked that, I would imagine it's pretty challenging to get towards the end of finishing college and you're not in college. It's tricky. I would imagine it's a really hard spot to be in.
Yeah, I definitely had to grieve that a little bit
Mm-hmm.
because part of me wanted to hang on and be like, literally one more semester, just do it. But then I was like, there's no way that I'm going to get good enough grades in that semester to pass. I was like, okay, yeah, no, I definitely have to stay home.
Like, what would you do at home? What were your days like?
There was nothing crazy. We had just gotten a new dog 4 or 5 months earlier. And so I was with him all day while everyone was home. I would get up, take him outside, feed him, and then pretty much just sit there. He was really needy. So
yeah. When do the thoughts start to kick in? Because if my math is correct, you said it was about the past year. If I'm right, about then do they start to kick in a little more and start to the ideating? And
yeah, I would say once it hit that, like right before I went home, it never went away. It was always there. And so my parents had actually had to take my pills from me and then they would give them to me. They didn't know that I was cutting at this point.
cutting on your arms?
Yeah, it started on my arms. It kind of migrated to different places throughout this past year, but yeah, mostly my arm.
Did the cutting, I imagine it brought you some relief, or you probably wouldn't have kept doing it.
Yeah, it's really hard for me to figure out what I'm feeling because I just never expressed it when I was younger. I don't know exactly what it did for me, to be honest, even now. My guess is some kind of release. And then also, other than like intense sadness, I didn't feel anything else. I was very numb at that point. So maybe just feeling emotions in general.
And are you taking the medication throughout this time?
Mm-hmm. It just wasn't really doing it.
Tell me about this year.
Yeah, so I was home for a while. Some months had gotten to the point of I was feeling a little better. I did start seeing a therapist once I got home, and I love her, still have her. I think part of my thing that made it really hard was I was lonely again because my friends were all at school still, and or they live in Minnesota, like 3.5 hours away. Even if they aren't, I can't go see them. You know what I mean?
Right. Your family doesn't own a helicopter?
Yeah, unfortunately, no.
So this is going on for like month after month?
Yeah.
And there's an attempt that's coming up, right? Or
Yes. So I had started drinking about 4 to 5 months ago, I think. Out of that 4 to 5 months, I think maybe 12 days total is how many I didn't drink.
What kind of alcohol?
Mixed it up. Twisted teas, big one. I like vodka.
And you drink it alone?
Yeah.
Parents know? Sister knows?
My sister did notice
Uh-huh.
eventually, but she's not gonna tell my parents because we're trauma bonded. My little one, we're trauma bonded.
And how many people, if any, know that you're struggling the way you're actually struggling?
My therapist for sure.
Tell her everything?
Yeah, like 99%.
What was the 1%?
Just random things I'm embarrassed about.
But not suicide.
No, I have talked to her about that. She's actually dealt with it in her own personal life, so she's pretty understanding about it, if that
Mhm.
makes sense.
It does make sense. I wish I heard that more.
I got really lucky. She's like a grown-up version of me. Yeah, so her for sure. Maybe my little sister a little bit. She's 17, so I'm not gonna put that on her, she's living her own life. And then maybe one of my cousins, but again, just very vague. And also, when I tell them things, I'm usually drunk.
So several months ago, you start drinking regularly. 3 months ago, more or less, you attempt.
Yeah. It wasn't super climactic. I was still at home, drunk, of course, and I was just sitting in my room and I had been scrolling on Reddit of all things, probably not a great place to be. Somehow I figured out, I wasn't looking for it, but I figured out that if you mix Xanax with alcohol, it can actually kill you. When they say don't drink with your pills, sometimes it's not going to do anything more than likely
Sure.
depending on what it is. But I realized that Xanax was actually it's very high possibility. I was like, you know what? Let's see what happens. Downed them and I got sleepy and I fell asleep. And then the next morning, my dad had to shake me awake because we both get up about 4 a.m. for work.
Your work.
I do custodial at a college, 5 a.m. shift to 1:30 p.m. So
I want to hear more, but before that, did you want to die?
I'm not sure exactly because I was just so back and forth at that point. I was feeling mostly better, but also sometimes I would just get really sad for no reason. So maybe in the moment, but again,
Yeah.
it doesn't phase me. And so it's kind of well, it's okay.
Are there days since then? A few months isn't that long ago, where
Mhm.
you wish it had worked? Particularly that morning where it's just happened. Are you like whatever, or you're like fuck?
I think I literally was thinking, well, that didn't work. That's about it. There was really no.
So that morning, your dad nudges you awake.
I was thinking about it, but I was like, huh, I really just did that.
Did you tell your therapist about it?
I did. I actually had, I think it was earlier in the week, and I had therapy on a Friday or something. And I told her about it. And at the time, like we were talking about earlier, I don't know if I would classify it as an attempt because I wasn't sure if I was just doing something to, you know what I mean? I don't know. And I told her, I was like, I don't have any plans to necessarily try it again. So she was like, I don't think we need to send you to the hospital. But she was like, you need to. She made me tell my parents about everything, how I had been doing recently, because, like I said, I don't like to bring that up to them, specifically my parents.
How did they respond?
They don't actually know about that specific thing. She didn't make me tell them that.
Okay.
Just kind of how I was doing, and I was self-harming again at this point. They responded differently than I thought they would. They were pretty calm about it. They were like, okay, well, we should do this and this, whatever, just to kind of help me stop cutting and try to feel better, whatever. I don't really get consistent emotional responses from them, so I never really know what they're going to say, which is partly why I don't like to tell them things.
And now 3 months later, how have the last 3 months been since that night?
I would say pretty good. We adjusted my meds after that. I actually felt pretty happy for a couple weeks, which is not normal for me. And that was nice. And then it kind of evened out, and I'm still kind of in that neutral place now. I don't really think about it as much anymore, but I do have days occasionally where I'll think I could take more pills again because now I have sleeping pills and Xanax
Now, let me ask you a question, Haley.
Mhm.
You said you're a masker. Are you masking it all with me, or have you been? I mean, I get it if you were.
No, I think I'm being pretty honest at the moment.
Sounds like that.
Yeah, I honestly, as much as I don't like telling people things, if they know, I don't care. Like if
Hmm.
they ask questions, I don't care. It's just I don't like to be the one directly to like give them my problems to worry about.
Makes sense. Does anybody know that we're having this conversation?
My therapist knows. She, didn't really have an opinion one way or the other, but she had been encouraging me to like reach out to people. She was like, if it's something you think you want to do, go for it. Yeah. I mean, I kind of explained like the podcast. She didn't seem too concerned. So my little sister and my cousin know. I didn't explain much about it, but they know what it's about, I think.
Okay, makes sense. So, how often are you drinking these days?
Still pretty much daily, honestly, but I think it's like a comfort thing for me. It's another
Yeah,
unhealthy coping mechanism.
cutting.
Yeah, I did recently, like a week ago. I haven't done it since, but I try not to, but it's really hard to stop once you start again.
I bet. I bet. Yeah.
My favorite thing actually, I like weed. In Iowa, it's
What?
not legal, so I actually have to go somewhere to get it.
But it helps you. It helps you feel, takes the edge off or something.
Yeah, it definitely just makes me feel happy, I guess. Like, it doesn't require much effort. I don't need to be with people, which, right now, again, I don't have friends here. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And when you're home and you're in your room, I imagine, and you're smoking or you're drinking or maybe both, like, what are you doing?
Lately, I've been sitting in my living room on the floor with Melvin. And
Oh, the rabbit. Yeah.
yes, I just kind of watch TV, whatever. Sometimes I clean a little bit. And that's pretty much it. I think maybe it's ADHD a little bit, but I don't really have a lot of motivation to do things that I could possibly enjoy. Everything, it just feels like such a big task recently that I just can't get myself to really do anything else.
Do you sing? Do you ever sing?
Yeah. I mean, I sing to myself all the time. I was in choir and I really, really liked choir, especially at Luther.
Is
Mhm.
there a genre that you like?
I just love it all, except for maybe like scream metal. Not my
Hmm.
thing. But everything else, good.
Your shirt says, I am enough.
It's I am Kenough. I'm Kenough.
I'm Knuff. Got it. You can't make that the memoir title because that's copyrighted.
I know. So sad.
You got an idea of what it could be?
Probably something involving a middle child because that's pretty.
You got it. Memoir title involving middle child. Let's go,
That's
audience. Help us out.
something of that nature. I don't know.
All right. Noted. 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 Cool. So other than the sometimes drinking, sometimes smoking, sometimes singing, the rabbit, anything else help you feel okay?
I would say right now that's pretty much it. I do actually like going to therapy, but it's more just because when I talk to her, it's like I'm talking to a sibling.
Mm-hmm.
It's very with me, like, it's very casual because I'm just kind of a casual person. We get along very well. It just gives me a place to talk to somebody, even if it's not my friends.
Do you believe in God?
I think I believe in something. I feel like I'm more like if I were to have a set religion, it would probably be like Buddhism. I like that. I like the ideas of that one better.
Reincarnation?
Sure. Not even that, just like the basic principle from my understanding is treating all living things like with respect
Yeah.
and helping each other because you want good karma, but also just because being a good person. Like that's the whole premise is just being a good person, which I appreciate. So,
Yeah. Treating all things, all living things with respect includes oneself. That's the tricky thing for me.
yeah, same.
Yeah. When's your birthday?
December 22nd.
You'll be 24.
I will be 24, yes.
If you were a Capricorn,
Mhm.
you believe in that?
I think there's something to it. I don't know. At least for most people.
You think you'll be around for your 24th birthday?
I want to say yes, more than likely, unless something crazy happens. Maybe I'll do something impulsive. But as of now, I'll say I probably will be.
Is there like a dream? Do you think about stuff like that? Like in a year, in 5 years, whether you call it a goal or a dream or whatever?
It depends on how far out. Like if it's when I was at my parents' house, I was like, I don't want to be here. I want to move out. So
Are you at your parents' house?
no, I did actually move out like a month ago, and that's when I got Melvin.
Melvin in the new place. You like it?
I do. I've never had my own bathroom before.
That's awesome. So yeah, I guess part of that question was also, I was thinking about like you as a kid, teenager, whatever. And I know that you studied music education and you love to
Mhm.
sing. Was there a, when I get older, I want to do this or be this or live here or live this kind of life?
Usually it was something to do with music. That I feel like that was the most consistent thing that I
Mm.
wanted to do. I wasn't sure exactly what that would have been. I think someday I will probably teach music in some capacity. I would have to, finish my degree and everything. And right now that I'm already paying my student loans, so I'm kind of waiting until I get that a little more settled.
Um, are there any myths or misconceptions around any of this stuff that you want to dispel?
One of my biggest like pet peeves is when people are like, "Oh, this person is just saying they're suicidal or they're self-harming because they want attention." Well, first of all, everyone's different, so maybe they are. But even if they are, maybe you should give them that attention.
One, I think about that all the time. Like,
Like,
is there something wrong with attention?
everybody needs attention. That's why babies cry. It's literally a biological. That one, that one gets me.
Pink and purple pill. I give you a pink and purple pill. If you take it, you go to sleep, no pain, you die, and nobody knows this suicide. What would you do with the pill if I gave it to you right now in your one bedroom home with your bathroom and your rabbit?
I think I would save it. Yeah, I think I would save it. I don't know if I would ever use it, only because, like I said before, my family would have to deal with, first of all, like their own emotions
Hmm.
about it, which I know, like they would not be good, and just all the stuff that comes after someone dies is kind of hard.
But you'd save it. I mean, we're speculating here. Does it bring some little comfort just knowing it's there? If.
I think so. I feel like it's kind of the same with having a blade somewhere nearby.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if people are like, "Give me you need to give me this." I'm like, "No, it's fine. I'm not. Just leave me alone." It's just like a comfort thing, maybe.
Did you like Barbie?
Yeah, it was good.
Not great. Good.
The movie itself could have been better, but I like the message.
You know, I was thinking about this question that I have on the form here, that or the thing I sent. Any words to your younger self? It's not my favorite question. I don't always ask it. Because you're playing with time, obviously. If I were to say, all right, 23-year-old Haley, talk to 13-year-old Haley, what would you say to her? Now, obviously, you can't, and 13-year-old Haley might not be receptive to it. However, I'm just curious, as we talk right now, would there be anything you could say to any younger version of you that might have had some sort of, for lack of a better word, positive impact? Would have changed perhaps the trajectory?
I would say don't let your parents determine what makes you feel fulfilled or happy. Do what makes you happy, even if they have something to say about it.
What might you have done differently?
I think it would have just given me more confidence to feel less self-conscious, care less about what people think of me, because one of my really big things is, people thinking I'm stupid or, just like not fitting in, especially because I've always been like a bigger child.
Mm-hmm.
So that was part of it too. Yeah, I think it would have just given me more internal confidence to just do what is best for me.
Is there anything on the notes that you wrote down that you want to add? Or anything else, whether you wrote it down or not?
I think I'm good. Everything else would have just been small details
Mm-hmm.
that probably don't need.
Hell, you're not just good, you're Knuff.
Thank you.
You work today, right?
Yes, I got off at like 1:45ish.
Mm-hmm. What's the rest of your day like? I know you probably go to bed kind of early.
Yeah, I probably will just hang out with Melvin, who's sleeping right now. Probably drink, honestly. I gotta clean my house.
Me too. You listen to music when you clean?
Yeah,
This podcast episode.
Do you think when it comes out, you'll listen to it?
probably. I think I will. Like,
Do you,
I'm like everyone else. You don't really like hear my own voice, but
yeah. And then I was wondering, and we can only speculate, but like, do you think when you hear your own voice, especially talking about this stuff, like
I think I can get through it.
crystal ball, we talk in a year or maybe more, Is there anything in your life that's different? And again, I'm not suggesting there should be. I'm just wondering if you think there might be.
Hopefully, I will have some friends that I can actually see on a, weekly basis. Like in person would be great. And that's really all I'm thinking about right now. Hopefully not self-harming, really trying not to do that. Trying not to really just any negative coping mechanisms, getting rid of those would be great.
Hey, real quick to my listeners. So after me and Haley spoke, Haley sent me an audio message with a few more things she wanted to include. It was easiest for me to take that and just sort of put it here towards the end. So you will hear her talk a little bit about her stay in the hospital, her only stay. One of the big challenges she had at her school that led in part to her struggles. And finally, a bit of a surprise. I'm not going to give that away, but if you think about what she does and what she studies and what she wants to do, well, there you go. Have a listen.
So I did forget about, I forgot to talk about when I was in the hospital. I went once. It was in February, about a week after I had got home from school. I was there for about 4 days. I got along with the other patients. I ended up unintentionally starting card games and we would play there. And that was fine. It was actually helpful. Even though some of them were a little bit kooky maybe, but they were overall nice and I got along with them. The nurses were fine. I didn't have like a terrible experience there. It was more, they just seemed disinterested and didn't really care that much. Not necessarily they were mean. They just did like the bare minimum. Like one of them, I had to give like a urine sample so they could test for any kind of drugs or whatever. They were like, leave it on your sink. We'll come get it in a few minutes. And it was sitting there for, I want to say like 45 minutes. And I eventually went up to the nurse's station and I was like, hey, I have a urine sample sitting on my sink. Like it's been here for a while. And they were like, oh yeah, we'll get it. And then when they did room checks, because obviously you couldn't have any certain things in your rooms, one of the nurses asked me about it and I said they were supposed to come get it like an hour ago. Thankfully, I didn't have to do it again, but she was mad at the nurses, not me. She was like, don't worry about it. She was mad at the other nurses because they were just sitting there talking, like you can see them and they're like behind the desk and they were just talking. They weren't doing any actual work. They just forgot and they didn't care. Not necessarily embarrassing, but like it's personal. It's, I don't know. It's just like one of those things where having to do it twice just because you're in the hospital is a little bit intimate. I don't know. It could be embarrassing. Maybe it was just like one of those things where like having to do it twice just because your nurse didn't care enough to come check and or remember is not cool, in my opinion. And another thing that happened was that kind of made me realize they just don't really care is when I was they were trying to get my meds and like they were trying to call the pharmacies that I get my meds from so they could confirm like prescriptions. And I've only ever used 3 pharmacies for these specific prescriptions. She had to come back once or twice to get the right one because I told her, I was like, I've only ever used these. And then she was like, this one didn't work, blah, blah, blah. It takes maximum 2 minutes to check. Maximum 2 minutes to check and call and see if it's the right pharmacy or if I had a prescription filled there the last time. And she basically came into the room and scolding me and just making me feel really, really bad because she had checked all of the pharmacies that I gave her and really just made me feel awful. And keep in mind, I'm in there for suicidal ideation. Like, she wouldn't know this, but that's not the point. My suicidal ideation is based off of not feeling good enough, basically, to put it in simple terms. She just made me feel like absolute shit. Come to find out, it was just because she didn't listen to the full messaging system when she called the one pharmacy because it had been bought out by a hospital. And so it said on the messaging system for information on medications or whatever, call this number. And it gave you the number to call. But she didn't listen to the full message. She just hung up. And so she basically just made me feel like crap. And before I figured this out, I called my mom and said, "Mom, I don't know what she wants me to do. I've never used any of these things besides these 3 pharmacies." And I was crying, and I was kind of having like a mini panic attack, because that's something I also ended up having happen right before I left school. It just like angered me and my mom, and it really angers me because if that was any other patient that was suicidal, like, they could have tried to kill themselves again just because she scolded them. So for someone to do that in a psych ward is crazy to me. Other than those couple instances specifically, it wasn't a terrible experience. There were some nice ones, but it was just the overall vibe of them not caring about you was what really bothered me. Like, the food was good though. For the hospital, it was good. And that was the only time I was in the hospital. The only other thing that I wanted to say was, I don't remember if I talked about this, but the day that I started having those suicidal thoughts, like, seriously, like when I started cutting and I was still at school, it was triggered by my voice lesson, basically, earlier in the day. So because I was a music major or music ed major, you have to do voice lessons, and which kind of entails you learn about 6 songs a semester. You have to learn them, memorize them, work on them with your instructor, and then you have to do juries, which is you sing for other faculty. They like grade you on it. I went into this lesson and it was like a memory check to see you were supposed to have all of your music memorized by this point. I had about half of it memorized, and I was just struggling. And, I was a senior at this point, so I've been doing lessons for 4 years. And my instructor just got really frustrated with me. She was like, "You are a senior, like, you should be more prepared at this point. You know that you need to have these things memorized. It's the basic premise of learning any music is to memorize it." And I felt awful because I knew that, and in my head I'm thinking, well, I'm so depressed that even if I try, I just like can't get myself to focus on anything. And also my ADHD makes it really difficult for me to memorize music. Even when I tried really hard, it just never really stuck. Like, my short-term memory is absolute trash. So it took a lot of work for me to memorize anything. Obviously, she didn't really know this, and so I don't blame her for anything, but that's really what triggered it. Is I just felt terrible about myself. I felt letting her down, being not dependable, feeling stupid. And I cried all the way back to my dorm room, and that's when I really started having the thoughts of like, I can't do this, it would just be better if I wouldn't have to feel like this anymore if I just took pills and killed myself. And that was, like I said, right before I left school. That was the day that I started cutting, and the day that I talked to my friend about it. Okay, I'm only doing this for Sean and, for the plot. Also, I'm not warmed up, and I'm in my car, so please be kind. Stars fading, but I linger on, dear, still craving your kiss. I'm longing to linger till dawn, dear, just saying this. Sweet dreams till sunbeams find you. Sweet dreams that leave all worries far behind you. But in your dreams, whatever they be, dream a little dream of me.
Why, thank you very much.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
You are very welcome. And have a decent night.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.
As always, thanks so much for listening and all of your support, and special thanks to Haley in Iowa. Thank you, Haley. If you are a suicide attempt survivor or ideator and you would like to talk, I'd love to talk with you. Please reach out. hello@suicidenoted.com. You can check the episode notes or podcast description or the website, suicidenoted.com, to learn more about this podcast, including the upcoming tour, ways you can get involved, ways you can support, all that jazz, though it's not a tour on jazz or a jazz tour. You know what I mean. Anyhow, that's all for this Monday's episode. Stay strong. Do the best you can. I'll talk to you soon.